What is up, YouTube? As you guys know, it's time for Ask Diaphone, where I answer your questions that you guys post in Discord. If you want to join the Discord, you can join it in the link below. Anyways, let's see what questions we got. This is from Tubby44. Hey, Diaphone. Curious what you think about my main piece of feedback after 2XKO Alpha Lab. I wish there was more incentive to play duo. I totally agree. After playing for a while, it's more optimal to play solo. 2v1, add a new fuse that's 2-player exclusive that you can even out the playing field so a 2-person team can beat with 1-person team. All right, so my take, I think, you know, they say a lot of thing about, like, because people give advice to, or like they have recommendations and they have all this other shit about like what they think a game should have, right? And I saw a really cool feedback and something unrelated to games. It was like, I don't know if it's like a comedian talking about, like, or like a director talking about, like, if people have feedback, listen to the feedback and like figure out what the actual problem is, and like don't worry too much about the suggestions. And I understand why I read stuff like that, because I totally agree about there being more incentive to play as duo. And I think if you look any type of game or any type of thing in life, you want to look at what's the competitive advantage of that thing. And 2XKO is obviously like the most fun thing. The thing that stands out the most is that duos exist, right? And you should try to maximize that. Now, what's the right way to maximize it? I have no clue, right? I think adding fuse, I think, is wrong, because to me, like, that almost disincentivizes 2v1, because you're gonna have to pick the 2v1 fuse in order to like be viable, and that means you're limiting freedom, right? So to me, it's like, yeah, I don't think we'll know whether 2v1 is like actually more optimal or not. There's obviously some things that are bad, like for example, if I'm Braum and I try to shield, it's gonna be really hard for me to get coverage for my shield, because I can't like get my assist, I can't perfectly sync up with my 2v1 brethren, right? And also, like, there's also like travel, and like what if they can't travel the same event as you? And what if they schedules are misaligned and you have to split the prize money? There's like a lot of downsides, right? So to me, it's like you want to add more upsides that are just inherent to the game. So stuff like, for example, you know how in 2XKO, like, I can like continue a move while I'm out, and I feel like there should be more stuff like that to like incentivize 2v1, so it's like less obvious what most people are gonna do. But yeah, I in general, I agree though. All right, Fogo di Chumi. What is the purpose of Tekken throws in Guilty Gear? Hey, I'm a soul main, and I'm having trouble identifying what the purpose of throw teching. Understanding has led me to never do it. Backdash and jumping seems better, and some people represent throw. So this is really interesting, right? I think this guy is pretty well informed, in the sense that, like, okay, higher level players are doing it, I'm not. Why is this the case? Which is a really good question. I think the right thing that you want to ask yourself. And so the fact that like you're asking yourself is like actually super important, right? And I'm really curious to see, I gotta make myself bigger, of course, what other people are saying. Yeah, delayed options. Like, I think people are on the right track. But yeah, the TLDR is like certain options carry less risk but may have less reward, right? So there's oftentimes a very strong use case for low risk, low reward options. For example, if someone's looking for the high risk option, like for example, I was just talking to Box. We're doing some training, right? And he's like, what's the purpose of stand medium punch? It doesn't make any sense. And it's the fact that stand heavy punch is more like, it's very easy to whiff punch. Stand medium punch is not, right? So while stand medium punch might not give that much reward, it's very good in the sense that it's hard to whiff punch, and like if you're not sure if it's gonna hit, you can just kind of throw it out. And it's kind of the same thing with throw tech, where if you're not really as sure it's gonna work, you can just kind of do it at a delayed timing. If you do it at delayed timing, then it's gonna be really tricky to open up. The way you have to open up is doing shimmies and that sort of thing. And if they're doing shimmies, then that means that they are accounting for this option that doesn't seem to have a purpose, right? So yeah, in general, more defensive options are good, and they just hedge against different things. So for example, like I do a knockdown. Like if someone's always doing a melee attack or they're always throwing, the only option that covers both those things is the delay throw attack, right? Jumping, a backdash, they all lose to the melee. So yeah, it does have some use, but it all depends on what the opponent's offense and that sort of thing. What rank do people delay teching? It all depends on the game. Delay tech is like, it's a thing that exists in like every game. In Street Fighter, it's maybe plat or diamond. In Guilty Gear, it's probably celestial. Let's be real, you'll need the delay tech in that game. In Grand Blue, it's probably like, I don't know, fucking S or S plus, because like it all depends on how important it is. All right, what else do we got? Gaining general system knowledge. Shen, what's up? Hey Diaphone, was wondering if you had any tips for how you approach gaining and internalizing general system knowledge in a game. Just as an example, learning the timing for wake up techniques in Grand Blue, or how long a knockdown needs to be given in a game for you to get a safe jump. How much is experimentation? How much is external resources? I think general, like the only thing that's from external resource. Oh, I think you mean like stuff like Dust Loop. It's for me, I'm kind of old school. It's all experimentation, right? And it's something very easy to experiment. You kind of just boot up the game, set the dummy to wake up jab, and then test shit out, right? And yeah, like some safe jumps you'll copy from people. Some things that I'll copy people external resources, like setups that automatically make a meaty. But other than that, like if it's just like generic shit, like hey, can I get a sort of knockdown, like I'll try to lab out myself. So I guess it's a combination of both. If you want to optimize it, then yeah, like look externally. But if you just want to get a general feel for it, then it's just something you can test in the lab real quick. This is a crazy question. Kind buzz. I don't think I've ever eaten a pear that didn't taste like sand and they're always refreshing. What? Gross and delicious? That's crazy. I actually don't like pears unless it's an Asian pear, and then I think it's like fire. So you gotta eat more Asian pears. That's all I gotta tell you. Hey Diaphone, what's up, Prototype? Low Master Lucilius player. I noticed results have stagnated after getting a few hundred diamonds, and especially found it hard to have success against people at the high end skill level of the game. I began watching replays of players like Grand Tav. And my question is, how would you approach going from the step one of they are doing this, so I must be good and I'll mimic it, but why doesn't it work this effectively when I do it, to step two of I understand why they do this and when to do it, so it'll work more frequently. How do you X copy to X understanding? This is an interesting one. I'm definitely happy to kind of dive into this. So it's really this kind of goes into the Fogo's comment. It's like I can X copy delay tech, but if I don't understand why it works, you're not gonna have any success, right? And to me, it's like the first way to do it is you have to start doing it, right, in match, right? And so, for example, Daru Ino, I was the Ino player back in Guilty Gear, and he would always do something that made absolutely no sense to me, which was he would do empty, or he would do a delay jump D. But so I'm like, why would you do a jump D? Like it's so delayed, you can react to it, and it's not even meaty, so they can just mash, and it loses the backdash, it loses to all these other options. I'm like, bro, Daru, this makes no fucking sense. Like, how am I not better than you? You're doing the suboptimal option. And the more I played with it, because I'm like, all right, there must be something to this. Like, this guy's fucking good, right? I kept doing it in match, doing it in match, doing it in match, and then I started to understand that, like, hey, sometimes this would work. And then I started to realize, like, oh yeah, it would work anytime someone delay text or they delay mash. It is specifically designed to beat that. So to me, it's like you have to mimic it, and then you have to start to see why things work and why things don't. The other thing is, like, especially if you're already low master, there's some X understanding involved, but there's also, like, you can't copy everything, right? You also have to start coming up with your own strategies at a specific level. And if you think stuff isn't working, or if it's not worth it, you're probably right, because all top players aren't like the best. So you need to copy what you think is good, and you need to leave behind what is bad. So I guess if I could say, it's like, it's probably part, like, maybe what they're doing is just not good. Maybe some of it you just don't understand why it works. Maybe some of it, especially in a game like Grand Blue, probably evolves around mental stack and that sort of thing. and try to hash that out for yourself. And like, in order to surpass someone like Tav or Grant, like you're gonna have to like come up with answers that they haven't come up with, right? Just being able to X copy them and even X understanding is not enough. You're gonna have to like come up with your own ideas to the game, and it sounds like you're already doing that. You just have to kind of start to have more confidence in your own ideas and start to understand like what's actually good and what's actually bad. And the only way you do that is like actually testing stuff out. Is copying what top players do the best way to get better? I think in the short term, yes. It depends, right? I think it's definitely an acquired skill. And let's say you're like a bronze rank player in Street Fighter, and you try to copy what the best players do. There'll be some things that are really easy to copy, and then you go online and then people just spam fucking DI and jump, and you're like, I don't know what to do, this isn't working, right? But it gets you on the right track, which is important, right? And yet, like, I think stuff where like, yeah, like for example, like I'm not teaching people to look at pro players, I'm teaching them to do this and this and this, because you already have someone like me to like kind of hash out what's important, right? But like if you're just self-studying, you can't really do that. But at the same time, like it's still gonna build the right habits, and it's still like a skill that people need to develop. But for the Stage Jam Slam, who gives a shit if you don't develop that skill, right? Because like really, we just want people to win as quick as possible. But yeah, I hope that makes sense. All right, Zykel's weird question. It's 4 a.m. and I'm just sitting in bed thinking about, after I had a conversation about what I want to do with my life, it kind of got me thinking, okay, introspective, cool. But what is this avatar? What are you doing if you bought a Discord Nitro? Come on, bro. Or actually, can you get that free? I don't know. In video games, jobs, when I've got as far as I get as far as I can, so I can cruise and get bored to move on to the next thing. Success on a We Made It scale hasn't really happened. I make a level of wage, I have a pretty good life, but don't quite have stability. Sound ignorant to assume I've made it, but if a big salary, massive YouTube, and great Twitch following. It's interesting you say that, because like to me, I don't think I have any of those things, right? Like, yeah, sure, like massive YouTube, I look to the people, you know, with 1 mil. I look to the people with like 10 times what I have, right? But yeah, I get what you're saying. Do you ever feel just bored, like moving on? I use that sort of dream to become some kind of chef. That's cool. And then I went to find out I just became normal. I don't want that thing to happen inside of me. Yeah, it's interesting. So Zykel's, if you guys don't know, they're a really strong Kimberly player. Zykel's kind of the person you'd be like, he might be like, I'm not that good at the game, and then he'd fuck up 99.9% of the population, right? Yeah, he's a very strong player. And that's interesting. So I guess the question is, do I ever feel bored like moving on? That is a really weird question. I think eventually I will. I've obviously, I think everyone falls out of love with stuff, right? I don't think that's like a unique experience. I think that's a very common experience across humanity. This is a very deep question. It has nothing to do with fighting games. But fuck it, I'll still answer it. I think in general, like people feel that way, right? I used to be interested in Star Wars. I used to have a bunch of Star Wars figures when I was 10 years old. Now I have no. I sold them all, bro. I ain't give a shit. I used to have Pokemon cards. I stole all my Pokemon cards. I don't fucking follow Pokemon anymore. I mean, I think in general, like it's okay to like fall out of love with shit, right? And how do I say? Like to me, I think the best way is you just gotta pursue your interests like as much as you can. And if you start to not like it, like then so be it, right? Then you'll find something more that's interesting. I've noticed myself not liking anime as much. I used to fucking watch all the degenerate izakayas, whatever it is. I just fucking love my degenerate izakayas. And nowadays it's like, I don't know, man. I just can't do it. I feel like I've just seen it too many times. It's gotten boring. Okay, sure. But I feel like for fighting games and like streaming and YouTube, like I don't know, I feel like there's just so many there's like infinite possibilities that like I don't know, I've just never been bored. And to me, like maybe it's about stagnation. I don't know, right? Like if I want to keep making fighting games exciting, I have to like continue to give it my all, right? Because once I stop giving my all and I just kind of coast, then I feel like I'll get bored. So yeah, I feel like I have that fear of that, and like maybe it's the same kind of like thing in other endeavors. But like, I do feel like if I don't give it my all, then I'll start to get bored. Kind of like sometimes I feel like I get bored of the gym because I do the same thing all the time. And I know the way not to get bored of the gym is like I gotta start going out of my comfort zone and like start doing other shit like new classes or new exercises and that sort of stuff. But at the same time, I don't know. I fucking work out because I need to stay in shape. Yeah, that's a strange question. I hope that helped. Yeah, this was a short Ask Diaphone. Guys, I need to get some people asking questions. Oh wait, actually we have one more. Just kidding. But yeah, I think it's what you make of it, right? I think one, you can't help it, but if you're bored of something, it means something else is exciting. Everything's relative, right? It's part of the reason I don't play MMOs because I feel like I get addicted to MMO and then be bored with Street Fighter. So like, yeah, like sometimes I intentionally do stuff to make sure I'm not bored. So be it, you know. I feel like if you really want something, you have to set yourself up for success, even if it's stuff like making sure I don't. It's like making sure I don't do drugs. Like realistically, right? Like if I started doing heroin, you realize how fucking boring fighting games would be? You like bro, I would be sitting here and thinking like, damn, I wish I was doing heroin. I wish I was doing heroin. Instead of enjoying fighting games. Like that's the easiest life hack is to start shooting up heroin so you get bored of fighting games. Well, why do you think all drug addicts start to lose their job? It's because they're bored with their fucking job because they'd rather get high and shoot up heroin. Other stuff's just a lesser version of that, right? I think you do have some control over it. Do drugs to rank up? Yeah, good luck with that. All right, Alice, I'm struggling a lot with consistency. Hey, I'm a 15 to 800. That's a wide ass range, bro. 15 to 1800. Who struggles a lot with consistently winning. I'll either go on big win streaks or lose streaks with my MR. Never staying consistent. Lose sets to players in the 1400 range, but also win games or sets against players in the 1900 range. As this question is not possible to answer on its own, I'll provide things about my gameplay. I'm really bad against some character. How did you manage to misspell both Blanca and Dawson? That's impressive. Blanca and Dulce. Actually, it's kind of accurate phonetically, but that's impressive. Most often you strike on offense. That's not bad. EX run overhead, combo, safe jumps. All right, I'm not gonna look at this. This doesn't matter. The secret. I literally had this conversation 8 hours ago. Literally 8 hours ago on a. Oh shit. CFN's down. I was gonna show you my match history, but it's probably not gonna work. Yeah, so the secret is everyone's inconsistent. There's no if ands about it. Like I was like 2 games away from legend and I fucking lost to a 1530 Chun. And I lost 16 points and I'm still pissed about it. That happened yesterday. But realistically, the chances of me losing to a 1530 Chun, I'm like 19 for elo chart, right? Where are we at? Elo chart win rate. If you look at the elo, so MR is basically based on elo, right? They're 400 different than me. It means I only have a 90% chance of winning against that Chun. So I just happened to hit that unlucky 10%. And I think people don't realize that like so for example, if you're 1500, you have the same chance. You have a 10% chance of winning against the 1900, right? Like this, it's how shit randomly happens, right? And sometimes you can be the victim of it and sometimes you can benefit from it, right? The other thing I'd say is some days you just have bad days and some days you have good days. I know for me, for example, if I work a 10-hour shift, I have a long ass day at work. I have a bunch of meetings. I have like emails that piss me off. I come back home and then I play ranked. I'm not gonna play well. I'm gonna tank my MR, right? If I don't get good sleep the night before, I'm gonna tank my MR. And so to me, it's like you gotta figure out why some days you play well and some days you don't, right? Yeah, maybe sometimes you just happen to run into against characters you don't know as well. That happens to me. Sometimes I just get all Camis and that matchup pisses me off like crazy. Or Bison. Cami, Bison, Akuma. Those are like the The three horse, actually, Cammy, Bison, Akuma, and actually JP, the 4 horsemen of characters I don't want to fight in Street Fighter 6 with Hockey. Everyone else I'm cool with. Yeah, I'd rather fight Rashid. That's crazy. He's probably 5th though. Yeah, sometimes we just get bad matchups. So to me, it's like you're gonna struggle with consistency. There's nothing like, yeah, those things might help that we talked about, but you're still gonna be inconsistent. I was 1800 2 days ago. Now I'm 1950. It happens, right? There's nothing. So the whole thing, really, what you have to do is just up your baseline so that your worst days, instead of being a 1500, are actually a 1700, and that's just standard. How do I get good at the game? Right? It looks like right here, I'm terrible at reacting to DI. Start drilling DI, right? And even on your bad days, you'll get good at DI, and then you might play like a 1600 instead of 1500. Yeah, there's a lot to it, but I guess the TLDR is like, if you focus on improvement, and consistency eventually won't matter because everyone's inconsistent. And also, like, yeah, how do I say? Yeah, figure out the days that you play well, figure out why you played well. And oftentimes it's things externally to the game. What is this? Check this out? This isn't a question. What is this though? What? This is just a link. All right. Did I check this out? Oh yeah, Sega vs. Capcom. This actually looks like a banger. Wait, the beta's live? Wait, what am I doing with my life? I'm playing this shit now. Wait, hold up. Wait, this is live. Whoa, this looks sick as hell. All right, we're checking this out. Anyways, if you want to see that, let me know. And I think this guy was asking for a high level Jamie. Yeah, we can play Sega vs. Capcom, the 2x KO killer. Anyways, like, share, subscribe, take care, y'all, and peace.